What's up fellow hunters, Nox here, welcome to another exciting build video. Today we're going to talk about the new best Elemental Switchaxe build that doesn't rely on any health draining skills like Dereliction. I will show a non-augmented budget version first that is super easy to make, and a upgraded version with augments right after to give you some extra ideas. Let's go. The Absolution. You can tell immediately that even the budget version of this build is incredibly powerful. Before we jump in, don't worry about the talisman if you don't have a similar one yet. All you need is one with Furious level 2 and 2 level 2 slots to get all the essentials. And that is actually really common now. You will definitely be able to get your hands on something that works with the build. I'm using the Magmadron Switchaxe as example here, but we're gonna see all of the best weapon choices after the build. Since our main focus is elemental damage, we of course have level 5 of whatever element we choose. Then we have Element Exploit for a 10% increase to elemental damage when attacking weak spots, along with Burst, which increases the element output further when landing continuous hits. Depending on the weapon, we also get to add Teostra or Kushala Blessing for an additional 10% elemental damage on top. And of course, we're making use of the amazing synergy between Furious and Dragon Conversion. With everything active, my element went from 131 all the way up to 246. That is a ridiculous amount for a build that doesn't use Dereliction. To understand how to get these crazy numbers, we need to take a look at how this skill combination works. Furious is really simple. As long as we're on the red scroll, it will give us 20 points to all resistances. And while on the blue scroll, Dragon Conversion will give us an additional plus 15 to all resistances after attacking the monster a certain number of times. Cool thing is, this resistance buff carries back over to the red scroll where the magic happens. Back on red, Dragon Conversion takes all resistance and counts it together. Then 25% of that number gets converted into whatever element we are using at the time. That will give us a total of 175 additional resistance, and all of that now gets converted into element attack. This means that these two skills alone will give us a bonus of 43.75 element attack, which gets rounded up to 44. That is absolutely massive. And of course, all the resistance you already have on your armor will get added into that and give you even more power. This might have sounded a bit complicated, but it's actually super simple to use. We start every quest on the red scroll by default, so step 1 is simply switching from red to blue. For step 2, we then attack the monster until we hear a sound effect go off and the shield symbol appears above our health bar. This lets us know that we got the resistance buff from Dragon Conversion. And step 3 is just switching back to red and enjoying even more element attack. With that explained, back to the build. Aside from our huge elemental skill synergy, we also have attack boost level 6 for a nice additional damage boost. Even though our focus is not on landing critical hits, we have weakness exploit for its great DPS value. Because we're using the new Virtue Braces, we have both Bloodlust and the new Frenzied Bloodlust. Bloodlust will give us additional affinity, and Frenzied Bloodlust will give us an additional wire bug. How long we are able to keep that additional wire bug will depend on the level of the skill. Even just at level 1, this has great value. We also have 2 levels of latent power, which come with the armor pieces as a nice bonus. Then we of course have max rapid morph as well as some evade extender and power prolonger. All of these add extra DPS and smoothness to the Switchaxe playstyle. For sharpness management, we have protective polish level 2. This will keep our sharpness at purple for 1 full minute after sharpening. This can of course be upgraded to level 3 later on. Be aware of the handicraft decoration, since not all of the weapons that we'll see after the build are gonna need this to reach purple sharpness. As I mentioned earlier, don't worry about the talisman. Since this version of the build is completely augment free, you can make up for anything you might be missing with a simple augment or slot upgrade. If you're gonna use these exact parts, the augment recommendations will look like this. Getting 1 level of Dragon Conversion as an augment is great because we can then switch out the waste for a better part. After that, the only real priority is maxing out Protective Polish and Burst if you can. An efficient way to do that would be going for slot upgrades. Those will give you plenty of customization options here. Otherwise, you can just go for any of the level 2 skills on the decoration list. Now we're gonna take a look at my personal version of the build that includes augments and some part variations. We'll cover what exactly my augments are in a moment as well. The talisman I'm using for this one has 3 levels of Furious. The evade extender is a nice bonus, but not required. We can get that in other ways as well. As you can see, the upgraded version of the build is absolutely monstrous. This thing will destroy anything. As most of you already know, I don't use any mods, so this is very manageable as I don't have any crazy augments. Attack boost, burst, and protective polish are now maxed out. Then I added additional damage skills, like critical boost and coalescence, as well as 1 level of Mail of Hellfire and Powder Mantle. The overall damage output of the build has gotten a significant upgrade. This is a stat comparison of the previous Title Update 4 and the new Title Update 5 build. The overall DPS is up to 15% higher depending on the circumstances. That is a lot. On top of that, we also have a bunch of comfort skills like Defiance, Stun Resistance, and Intrepid Heart, making this build comfortable to play while being absolutely deadly. This is what my current augments are looking like if you're trying to recreate a similar version of the build. You can of course get any of these augments on whatever part you want. The only necessary one here is 1 level of dragon conversion. The rest can all be substituted for other things if you like. But I do recommend going for 1 level of Mail of Hellfire if you can. Outside of that, the most beneficial thing will again be slot upgrades. Wirebug Whisperer would be a nice addition as well. Now that we covered both versions of the build, let's take a look at the other best weapon options. We have Almadron for water, Lagombi for ice, Calamitous for dragon, and then Kezu and Narwa for thunder. Yup, you heard correctly. Kezu has now officially made the top picks. Which of the 2 thunder weapons you should use will depend on personal preferences and playstyle. For both water and ice, make sure to swap the flame scale for an iron shell decoration to get the 10% elemental boost. Also keep in mind that thunder and dragon don't have any decorations like this, so you can replace the flame scale or iron shell decoration for anything else you might like. I have a lot more builds for Switchaxe and all other weapons on the way, so make sure you stay tuned. Thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.